So here's a relatively modern set which has been sat on the shelf for the last 10 years. I think I bought this just before I started doing these videos in 2014, and it's an Intek M110 Plus, which is a MultiNorm, a dead basic one which suits me down to the ground. I like sets which don't have meters, and I bought this second hand, and it's come with a Chizer mic, which would be far better off being on a Chizer radio. So there we go. I've no doubt got it off eBay, and it comes with a cigarette lighter plug, which is most inconvenient for me because we don't have anything set up on here to accept those. So it's crocodile clip time, and invariably they will fall off. So I'll get it connected up to the test equipment, which I switched on all of 5 minutes ago. What else do we need? I don't think we need anything at this stage. So it's flashing. It flashed 7 at me there, so that must have been the country code. So switching between AM and FM, I'm presuming we'll switch between CPT and UK. So I'll tell you what, we'll put picture in picture on, and just in case it doesn't work, I've switched picture in picture on. And let's have a look at the frequency counter. We're on channel 20. I don't know whether it's supposed to be an up-down mark. I'd need to research that. Yes, that sounds correct. So yeah, 2779088. It will come up because the gear's only just come on. So I won't put the frequency down because that would be unfair. This could be the earliest Intek we've had in the UK. There's probably nothing wrong with it. For all I know, it's all tuned and perfect. But it would be nice if we had the right mic. Serial number 0611 001418. It's M110 Plus. So have a look at the power. On channel 20. 3.5 watts. Channel 1, 3.1 watts. Channel 40, 3.3 watts. And I think it's going to end up doing CPT, so we'll just check that it is doing. It does, yeah. I'll just see what it does on channel 1 CPT. .5. Interesting. Back to UK. It doesn't, of course, have low power because it's not a 2781. It's a CE MultiNorm. And our transmit current on channel 20 UK is 1.175, which is fair enough for a modern set. Deviation, just in case the deviation meter is working today. While it's 2.5. We won't be doing the VCO. We're not doing frequency at this point, but it is 2779090. 2779090. Now I'll set the signal generator for exactly the same, so we've got an absolute fair thing. 2779. Alright, let's see what we've got. I'll plug the test equipment into the extension speaker socket. And we'll look at what the SINAD meter says. Turn the squelch down as well. And we'll look at the SINAD meter. It's probably not adjustable, but we'll have a look. 0.65. 0.6. Sounds off frequency, to be honest. But I've set the signal generator exactly as the radio's on. For 20, it's 1.6. Squelch. 26 microvolts, which isn't good enough really. And the threshold, .9, which is fine. So RF meter doesn't have one, doesn't have one, doesn't have one. They work, those work, that works, doesn't have one. And we've heard the internal speaker, so that's gone through the list for a good start. So open it up. I'll probably even turn it off just for a laugh. Now it's got screws in the back. I'm hoping the printed circuit is date stamped. The fact it came second hand, it may have had adjustment, which is why it's doing 3.5 watts. We've got an SRBP board and a soldered in speaker, which I'll need to unsolder. Crystal filter in the receiver. September 06. And the board actually says M110, so looks like it's the only set that this board finds its way into. Now it's got a modulation transformer and it's CE approved. Let's check it's CE approved. It is CE approved, so we can make it do AM on the air test. It'll be a faff because it's not intended to do it in the UK at the time. Let's get rid of those wires. I'll just see if there's any information either on my computer or online, so I'm not twiddling willy-nilly. Obviously it doesn't have meter, so you're going to have, I would think it's going to have transmit power, it's going to have deviation, it's going to have modulation, and it's going to have squelch. So I can think there's going to be 4 presets, 1, 2, 3, 4 and the R. So there you go. Underneath it's going to have got some VLSI chips, but they're not on this side of the board. And at this stage I don't need to take the bottom off. That's going to be the VCO, that's going to be frequency set. I'll just see if there's any information. Well, it doesn't get better than this. We've got the full service manual on file. So I've just been able to print that off. And I've also printed off 2 pages from the instruction book, which is how to set up the country code. So, yeah, we'll set it up for 01 when we do AM. Good service manual. So we've now been on long enough to set the frequency. All I need to do is find a layout. Well, there we've got the circuit and a block diagram. And there we've got the layout. So CT201, we'll set it with the transmit frequency rather than the technique they say. And of course that is the VSO, which we're not going to need to touch. You can't turn the volume down fully, which I find annoying. And I looked at a photo of this set. I just went online and put the number in and found it's a standard mic. It isn't an up-down mic, but of course it also isn't a Chiser mic, which is a shame. We can't really judge its transmitting qualities. Right, it's going to transmit. Put picture in pictures on. We're still on picture in picture, yeah. 2779125. And we can actually get into the trimmer. Hmm. 126 will do me. So it was actually 109. 2779109 is now 2779126, which suits me. So have a look at what we do for transmit. Transmitter section is L301, 302 and 303, which are 301, 302 and where's 303? It's what it says. It doesn't have a power preset. 301, 302, so 303. Hmm. 301, 302. L304. No, I can't see one. Might be a situation where we strive to improve the product, etc., etc. So we're going to optimise on the UK set of channels, and we'll put the main meter there. Check placement of coils. They've got a little gap there, and that brings us to 3.5. I get an extra 6 inches range now. That was 3.5 before, but it wasn't by the time I've come back down to it. So, it's channel 40 is now also 3.5. Channel 1 is also 3.5. It's going to CPT. It's now 3.4. So not too bad over the 80 channels there. Go back to UK and then back to channel 20. We'll have a look at what the current consumption is now, 1.267. We'll do the deviation at the end using the test set behind me, which I need to switch on. It needs 5 minutes to warm up. Good. Well, that's the transmit done as far as that goes. Then what else do they want you to do? There isn't an RV202. They're talking about doing the transmit meter. This is a hopeless model of this. Transmit power level adjustment, RV202, until the fifth bar appears on the channel display LCD, which it doesn't have. Okay. Right. What about deviation? Does it mention deviation? No, it's not mentioned deviation. Perhaps that's further in. No. That's just a load of twaddle this. What transmit power is RV5. We've got RV1, RV2, 201 and 401, so there's still a load of twaddle. So I still don't know where the deviation is because it doesn't say. I'll have to look at the circuit diagram. Right, onto the receiver. we're going to be starting with the detector. I'm just going to make sure that we are now on the correct frequency. 27.79125. Right. There's 100 microvolts on the signal generator. We'll have a look at the oscilloscope and we'll just see if that is adjustable. It says L34 102 103 104. So let's see where they are. I'd say that was detector. So L3, yeah. L4 102 103 104. But that's going to be detector, so it's not done. And it is detector, and that's now peak. So once again, the manual isn't quite right there. Right, let's turn the signal down. Put the SINAD meter on and see whether anything can be gained. It doesn't sound right. Wow, that's a massive improvement. Let's go back to that first one. Yeah, I'm right. That was out. That's probably IF. I just put a bit more signal on. I'm going to do the detector again. There we go. I don't think it sounds nice, but we've definitely improved the receiver. We've now got 0.37 microvolts. Tell you what, we'll call it 0.38. .34 and 1.5. That's noise, isn't it? No, it's not off frequency. I've just gone either side of it. Right, squelch. We'll put squelch to full on the radio. See when that comes in. It's coming in at 13. It's even worse than it was. But that's because we've improved the receiver. So how do we set the squelch? Well, it actually says RV2. That's the first time we've had the mention of a preset properly. So RV2 is that one, allegedly. My goodness, it really is. And now it's 100 microvolts, which is where I want it. and on set threshold. Signal generator back on. 0.85. Excellent. So that's an improvement. So there's no mention of AM mod, and there's no mention of FM deviation. I'm just curious because I think one of these is going to be power, and I think it's going to be that one. Going to go back to power. Going to transmit. Wrong meter. It is, but we've managed to get 3.6. There we go. 3.6 it is. So far, squelch, transmit power. So I'm going to now put it into, we do AM on this test set. I need to put it into country code 1. So let's see what you have to do. Press up and turn the thingy on. And press down to lock it into the memory. So switch it on with up pressed. And then manipulate it for what we want, which is 1. And then down to lock it into the memory for 2 seconds. There we go. So now, just let it boot up. So that's FM, that's AM. So out of interest, what power have we got on transmit? We've got acoustic feedback like you'd expect. And we've got 3.5 watts. So we put this into AM meter mode. I'm just going to have to tune it in because we're now on a lower frequency. Wallow. It's actually beyond 100%, so it needs to come down. But seeing as there's no mention of it, it's guess time. Well, I guess it's going to be that one. Let's put it on the oscillator so I don't have to make a noise myself. Oh, right, it is. Wallow. It's about 92%. So that's reset, which means that that must be deviation. So I'll go back to UK channels rather than set it up on here, because the test set behind which I'm going to use is set for UK. Now it's coming up, when I initially tested it at 2.5 peak, and it might be correct. So I think this has had the old finger trouble. I think some of these have got, I think in turning I can see that somebody's thought that is transmitter, because it's a different style core thing, and they've twiddled and twiddled and twiddled, and they've ended up making the receiver crap. So that's where I think what's happened. And then they've flogged it on eBay to me because they've ruined it. Right, I'll go back to UK channels. So switch it on with up. And now we want country code 7. And then down to lock it in. Just like that. And hopefully we should be back on UK channels. So I'll just plug into the test set behind. We'll see what the deviation is, whether it agrees with my Marconi test set or not. Wallow. Wallow. It's about spot on. It's saying about 2.4 on that. I'll tell you what, I will adjust it to prove it is the adjustment, but it couldn't be anything else. Wow. It's a full whack for that. Don't know whether this mic's intermittent, but we're soon going to find out. Where's my talkie walkie? Testing 1 2, testing 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. Fair enough. Right, we'll just check the deviation back on the Marconi test set. Need to retune it, since we've been on the other band. Wallow, it's saying 2.5, the same. So it fully agrees with me today. So it was 2.2 to 2.5 kilohertz, and it's now 2.2 to 2.5 kilohertz. So transmit, transmit, receive, 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 detector, frequency set, deviation, squelch, AM mod, and transmit power, which is at full whack, to get 3.6 watts. Good. Another job done. I'll put the soldering iron back on. And we will scratchy corner test it. This is that awful ROHS solder, which looks like a dry joint from the get-go. Just wait for my soldering iron to warm back up. That will take picture in picture of. So good improvement on receive. And remember, this set wasn't intended to use when it was manufactured in the UK on AM, hence it's a faff to change the country code, because that legislation didn't come into 2014, that UK users could also use on the CEPT set of channels AM, provided it was on a CE approved radio. So there we go. I just hope I don't have to take the bottom lid off to get the top lid on. Wow. Done it. Anyone saw where I put the screws? Probably chucked them anywhere. And then we'll put it on the aerial and see whether we can hear any swearing at Nottingham. I bought a second-hand, probably broken camera off eBay yesterday, and I've just noticed they've posted it. And when I come to look, they're only gelding, not gelding, as a horse with its things chopped off, gelding at Nottingham, which is only like 28 miles, 30 miles away. So with hindsight, I'd have gone in the electric car and picked that up and saved myself £6 postage. Because having solar panels in the electric car, I'm not usually spending very much to run it. So I missed that one, didn't I? Anyway, I'm sure it won't get lost in the post. Right, tester gear off. It's like it's had a label on there and it's attacked the finish. Right, here goes. Well, no, Roger. Well, no, let's go on to CPT. So, see, when we're in the UK mode, the AM position becomes the CPT set of 40, and the FM becomes the UK set of 40. Are you allowed to say 1 nano Roger on CPT? 1 nano Roger. Dead as a dodo. It's enough to make me think the aerial's blown down. Anyway, there you have it. It works. It works fine according to the test equipment. What did we end up with? 0.38 microvolts. So that should work great. We'll do an on-the-air test later, and we'll do that in AM and FM. And one day, if an Intek mic turns up, that Chiser mic can go on a Chiser radio. Thanks for watching.